Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be an update for May. Sorry about the lack of updates lately. Good news is that I do have a lot of material for this one. So I'm going to start with this little table here. This is my little show table. I put some of my orchids here to get a better view of them. But I will be going to the other windows as well. So the one I'm most excited about at this time is right here. This is, or at least it's labeled as, Leliocattleya Mem Robert Strait Blue Hawaii. And this orchid takes the cake for most recovered orchid. I'm going to do a video on it once it completes its blooming. As you can see, the buds are still opening a bit, especially this one over here. But they already smell. They actually had a fragrance when they were closed buds, so I can only imagine what they're going to smell like once they're fully open. But yeah, I'm going to try not to say too much about this orchid because I'm going to make a video on it. It is a little bit more blue in person. I see it's turning up a little more violet in the camera, but that's all right. Here's the whole plant right here. So that one is the Blue Hawaii. And over here, my Chylokista finally opened. Let's see if I can get it focused. There we go. It's got a little push pin under there to hold the spike up so it didn't grow into the mount. But this is a Chylokista exuperi. I've shown you this orchid before. It had two spikes. The other one right in the center of the frame right there died for some reason. I don't know why, but at least I've got these three blooms right here. And they probably rival, for me, they rival the Maxillaria tenuifolia for how good they smell, at least in my opinion. They smell like a combination of freshly baked bread and vanilla, and they are amazing. I just love smelling it. It calms me down. I don't know why. But yeah, Chylokista exuperi, which obviously does not have leaves and is not supposed to. Let's see what else I have on this table. This is the, what was labeled as a Silogene cristata, but it's not. It has some new growths coming out. It's got one right there and one at the back of the plant. And let's see if I can get this guy over here. This is new for me. This is an Otara orchid. Otara. And I had never heard of an Otara orchid before, and I looked it up, and it's very similar to a Cattleya. And this one has no roots, but it's got some good leaves there. And it's got a new growth coming out, and I can just see some little roots starting to come out today. So that is awesome. Here is a Vanda cross that I'm sure a lot of you will remember seeing in my collection. It's a very good bloomer. It blooms with more blooms every time, basically. It has 8 this time. So it's good. I don't think I've had it bloom that much before, but some of the petals are a little bit misshapen. This one got stuck to the center of the flower there. And then this one is kind of wonky as well, but it still looks gorgeous. I'm really happy that it bloomed so much, and I'm not quite sure why, because we had a very gloomy and dark winter, so whatever, good for you, Vanda cross. This one is a cross between Vanda girapropa and Ascocenda tubtim velvet, and I believe it is known as a Brighton's moonbeam. It doesn't really have much of a scent, but just look at it, it's very pretty. I really like off-white orchids. At the main window here I have some humidifiers going, and let's see what's over here. I've got my bulbophyllum Binninjiki that I showed you a little while ago. I thought that this might be a spike, but it's not. It's a new growth coming out. Looks really nice. And the other one was also a growth over here. I did notice some thrips on this recently, so I did have it outside and spraying it with insecticide, and I have been doing other nearby orchids as well. So they'd better not eat my expensive bulbophyllum Vanda gear. I'm going to be very unhappy. But it's doing well. It's putting out new roots. I do think I have to either repot it or extend the pot a little bit more, because it does require a lot more humidity and moisture than other orchids. But for now, it's looking okay. I really hope this one blooms someday. Got the Chylokista that I had mentioned over there. I've got a bunch of dendrobiums that are growing just fine. There's the Laudagasse. Behind that is the Dendrobium cucumerium. I've got Dendrobium pyrari. And up there you can kind of see the silhouette of it. That one is the Dendrobium aggregatum. They're all growing just fine, but I have not figured out how to get dendrobiums to bloom very well yet. So fingers crossed, maybe I will be able to do that next year. Oh, up here, this one is the most recent acquisition of mine. This one is the Chylokista viridiflava. It's huge, and it's actually started to get new little buds on it. So it's got 4 spikes with buds, so those look like they're gonna open fairly soon. And it's got a new spike growing, and this is growing way faster than I imagined it would. Yeah, this Chylokista just is leaps and bounds stronger than my other ones, and it's doing well. You might notice that this is the place I usually have my coconut orchid, or Maxillaria tenuifolia. That's outside enjoying some sun, and I will mention that later. I've got my Schomburgkia seedling kind of sitting in some water. It's both getting watered and enjoying the sun. There is, oh, that's my vanilla vine. Still have no clue what I'm going to do with that. I mention that every video. There's the Vanda I mentioned up there with the 8 flowers. I don't mention this one very much. This is one of the first Cattleyas I ever got. I got it from Terra Greenhouses, and it was originally from Crystal Star. But usually at greenhouses they don't have the time to take care of orchids properly, and it was in a really, really thick brick of moss, and all of its roots had rotted off. So it is still recovering, but it has produced some new growth, so that's good. But the reason I actually keep this one and keep trying to help it recover is because the blooms are enormous and red, and they smell fantastic. So hopefully I'll be able to show you that one in bloom at some point. I've got this one. This is my mom's. It wasn't doing very well, so she took it over to my place, and I repotted it into these new beads that I got. They're apparently charcoal with a ceramic coating on the outside, and I sprayed some insecticide on it, repotted it, cut off some dead roots. So hopefully it's going to be doing better. Hasn't died yet. That one is a Paf Con color, I believe. Yeah, and I've just got some other guys sitting up here. There's the Maxillaria variabilis that I did a video on recently. There is my Orides multiflora seedling. I can't wait for this one to bloom. I just think it's one of the prettiest orchids, and I would really love for it to bloom soon. I've had it for like a couple of years, I think, and it grows really well, but someday. And got some mini phals over here. This one blooms really nicely, but it is just starting to fade right now. And then got my little white one over here. And my big Cattleya is going to be moved to a different window because it's so big. And I just have to clean the area before I move it. But it has a new growth, oops, right there. And it's got another one, I think, coming out right there. Here is Mr. Maxillaria tenuifolia out here, just enjoying some sun because I watered it a bit, and I also doused it with insecticide. I haven't noticed any bugs on it, but if it does bloom, it's supposed to bloom soon, and I don't want any thrips from the other orchids eating those blooms, because this is my favorite orchid, as I mentioned before. The last video I did where I repotted it, I actually did have to tie it up with some string. It looks really terrible, but it was actually still falling over the sides of the pot and separating at the middle of the plant there. So I'm gonna keep trying to keep this one plant. And it's funny, it takes a lot more sun than most of my other orchids do. I actually had this out here with a Vanda one time recently, and the Vanda actually got a sunburn, but this one is just fine. So that kind of goes to show you how much light these orchids need and can take. There aren't too many orchids in the mini greenhouse right now because they're over at the other window enjoying some sunlight. But I've got some in here. There's the Phalaenopsis tetraspis right here that used to have 5 blooms on it and just has 1 left. But the spikes are growing nicely, and you can kind of see the one that used to be a lot shorter, but it's growing very well. I've got another orchid of my mom's here. This one is a Phalaenopsis cornucervi, and this spike seems to be doing well. It's got another bud on it right there, but as you can see, it's kind of shriveling up at the bottom. I just recently got this from my mom and repotted it, same as the path. The little leaf here died. There is no rot in there, I've checked, but that did not do very well. However, I'm expecting another leaf to start coming out of there, same as the other species Phalaenopsis over here. Remember how the leaf died and then another one came out of the center? I hope that's what's going to happen with this one. So it's repotted into an interesting kind of cork mixture with a little sphagnum in there as well, and I hope it's going to be doing better. It also required some insecticide. Over here I've got my bulbophyllum lepidum, and it didn't do anything for a really long time, and now it's exploding with new growths. As you can see, I kind of cut the side of the pot because bulbos don't like to be repotted very much, so I'm just going to let it keep growing, and I might repot it as soon as it starts to make new roots. I've got a catasetum that needs to be repotted right here. This is the catasetum Karen Armstrong. I've got another dendrobium right here that it's not blooming, but it's growing just fine. And a bulbophyllum medusae, and it's got a new growth on it somewhere, but that's nice. Over here at my middle window, I've got some Vandas that are doing nicely. That one is the one I mentioned that was out with the tenifolia and got the sunburn, but it's just a little sunburn, it's not that bad. And I've got something really cool to show you right here. This is the Millennium Magic Witchcraft that had the 2 growths coming out of it. I've kind of been neglecting it, which is why the bulbs aren't quite as big as the last one. Maybe they will get that big, I'm not sure. But it's terrible glare right here, but it's got what I can tell is 3 spikes coming out of it. There's one on the right, and then 1 and 2 on the one on the left. So I've got at least 3 flower spikes I can expect from the Millennium Magic, so that's awesome. The thing about that though is I have to be extremely careful with this plant now because it's just so huge, and with those spikes they grow really long and they're really brittle, so just have to be very, very careful with this plant. It also needs to be watered, I just noticed. The Encyclia amula I've kind of been neglecting. It's got some scale on it. I do need to repot it, as you can see, but it's a pretty good plant. I think it'll be fine. This little guy that I've had for a while that hasn't bloomed, it's got a new growth coming out of it. Oh, my bulbophyllum bicolor is finally growing again. It's got a new growth, but not much to see. And my Cattleya over there has a new growth as well. At the last window right here, we've got a little bit going on. This is the Embrea radagastiana, I think that's how you say it, that I got from Paramount Orchids. It keeps getting like a infection on this leaf right here. It kind of looks like, maybe I can show you up here. It gets a little infection like that on this leaf, and I keep cutting it and sealing it with cinnamon. It doesn't grow very quickly at all, like the infection, but I did see something recently where you can actually seal wounds with wax, so I'm going to try that next if it gets infected again. But anyways, this orchid, I keep checking it over and over again. This is the new growth right here, which is doing really well, because this is similar to a, oh come on Kristen, think of the orchid. Similar to a Gongora or a Stanhopea. It grows a spike through the basket here. That's a root. So I have to be really careful because I don't have it hanging yet. I don't want the spike to get squished. I also think I need to get a basket that has bigger holes in it. But anyways, I keep looking for flower spikes because they should come out and then grow into the media. And I keep getting really excited whenever I see something, but it always ends up being a new root. It's always a new root. But maybe soon it will bloom, I'm not sure. Because that is going to be a really pretty bloom. I've got my Cochleanthes amazonica here. It just finished blooming again. Such a good plant, and it's got the new growth coming out right here. I kept it a little dehydrated, and that's why you can see the little accordion bumps in there. So, and again, it's clearly something you need to keep humid. It's going to be going back into my little terrarium here. I just need to make some room for it. My Polystachya has some new spikes coming out. This one is just such a good grower. Really, really good plant. I would recommend Polystachyas to anyone. Well, anyone with a lot of light. So it's got one spike right there, and I believe the new growth in the middle there has another spike as well. This is a Lycaste. It has a bacterial infection. I took off the leaves right here and I put some hydrogen peroxide and cinnamon on it. So hopefully that took care of it, but I have a feeling it didn't because I can see some discoloration on the new growth here. I really like Lycastes, so I really want this one to do well, but I'm not sure. I've got, oh, my paths are doing really well, which is not something I can usually say because I don't really pay much attention to my paths, but this is the first path I ever got. It had no roots, and now it's got what I think might be sort of a sheath in there coming out, but I'm not sure. This path right here, which is beautiful, it's got a flower coming out right there, or a bud, and this one was recovering, and now I think it's doing really well and hopefully will bloom soon. And last but not least, this is the, what are you? You're the one, it's the lemon scented Cattleya up here. I can expect that one to bloom this year as well. It's just a really good bloomer. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see any more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.